Hello, welcome to DIY Home of Mine. I am Sujata and today's video is about the stretching and framing of these two beautiful oil paintings with reveal edge frames. So I'm not too sure if this is the right word for this kind of frame, reveal edge. Let me know in the comments if it is, or if it's not, then what is it called. Whatever it may be called, I like the way it looks with a small hint of color from the painting onto the frame edge. And also later in the video, I will share a few things to keep in mind while stretching or framing a finished painting. Very important stuff. So let's start. First, I needed a simple frame to stretch and staple my painting onto, and for that I ripped 3/4 inch thick pine into 1 1/4 inch wide strips and then measured the paintings and cut those strips to the right size for the frame. Before joining the frame pieces together, I put a 15-degree bevel on one side of all the pieces on my table saw. So this bevel keeps the painting from getting the stretcher marks in the long run. So what are the stretcher marks? Your stretcher marks are caused in the painting when flat stretcher bars come in contact with the canvas and are mostly characterized by faint marks or sometimes cracks in the paint. The most visible damage happens right here at the innermost edge of the stretcher bar where painting comes in contact with that innermost edge. So this type of damage is totally preventable with the bevel edge on the stretcher frame or an extra strip attached to the frame edge protruding on one side of the frame like this. Wait, when I started the joining process, that's when I realized that joining the frame on the corners was kind of finicky. If I had not cut these pieces to size earlier, I could have mitered the corners to join them properly, or I could have cut new pieces all together. But I did this project during lockdown and I was working with whatever I had in stock at home, and I did not have enough materials to start over again. So to join the corners effectively without misaligning them, I got rid of the bevel and saved those bevel pieces to use later on. Then I joined the corners of the frame with the help of 1/4 inch dowel pins. I used these L brackets to align the corners to mark the dowel pin locations, and then use this self-centering jig to drill holes for the dowels. I marked the adjoining corners to avoid confusion while assembling the frame. Once all the holes were drilled, putting the frame together was very quick, easy and accurate. The dowel pins made it all come together pretty easily. Cleaning up the glue squeeze out with a wet rag makes life easier later on because dried up glue is very hard to clean. So I clamped the frame, checked for its squareness and let the glue set up for a couple of hours. Then I used these triangular blocks to strengthen the corners. After the glue was set on these blocks, I nailed them with 2-inch long brad nails. In hindsight, I think it was an overkill. Well, it's better to be safe than sorry. And to finish off the frame, I attached back those beveled edges which I had saved earlier with glue and 1/2 inch long brad nails. To staple the painting onto this frame, I marked the center point on all 4 sides of the frame and also on all 4 sides of the painting. I aligned the corresponding marks on the painting and the frame, and while holding the painting firmly to the frame with clamps, I stapled loosely on 3 sides of these marks. Also staple the corners on the sides opposite of the 4th side. Then I stapled the 4th side of the painting to the frame, starting from the middle towards the corners while pulling the painting gently. I stopped the stapling a couple of inches away from the corners. This makes it a whole lot easier to finish the corners later on. Then I removed the 3 staples from the opposite side and finished that side the same way as the previous one. I finished rest of the 2 sides in the similar manner. To finish the corners, just watch carefully how I folded and finished them. That will make more sense than me explaining the process. So after the painting had been stapled to the stretcher frame, it was time to work on the reveal edge frame. And for that I ripped 1/4 inch thick and 1¼ inch wide trim on my table saw. I also beveled the front edge of this trim with 45-degree angle. You know, these small details give a finished piece that special touch, in my humble opinion. I finished the trim with paint and varnish before installing it onto the stretched painting. So inside of the trim is done with an accent color from the painting and outside with black paint, which I covered with gold paint later on. So once the paint was dry on the trim, I framed the painting with this trim while mitering the corners. I did not cut all the pieces to size all at once. I measured, cut and installed one piece at a time. And the painting frame are flush on the back side and the painting is recessed inside the trim on the front side. So it's kind of like a floating frame, except it's not a floating frame. I just like the way it looks, revealing the inside colored edge. So a few things I would like to point out here about framing a finished painting. It is much harder to stretch a finished painting on a frame than stretching a raw canvas and then painting on that canvas. I understand sometimes doing that is not possible, especially if you need to transport a painting from point A to point B and it's really a big painting or whatever other reason. In that case, please roll the painting on a cardboard tube after it has been dried and cured fully. This will keep the painting from making permanent folds and creases in it. So let me show you up close. In this painting, you see these white highlights. That's where the painting has developed permanent folds or creases. So it is impossible to get rid of these creases without damaging the painting. So if you absolutely have to ship or store a canvas painting without a frame, then roll it, don't fold it. And the second thing I would like to point out is, so if you are making a painting to stretch on a frame later on, then keep at least 2 to 3 inches extra canvas on the edges. It makes it so much easier to hold that extra edge while stretching the canvas. You saw how much I was struggling while stapling my painting onto the frame. It was so hard to maintain the squareness of the painting without losing any details. So a little bit extra canvas on the edges goes a long way. So that's a wrap for this video, my friends. Let me know in the comments what you think of this project, and also few of my next videos are going to be about art. Either I will be creating art or I will be framing art. So until I see you next with my another artful DIY project, take care. And have you already subscribed?